All right, welcome back to the Versatile's PC channel. Today, we're going to be setting up this computer right here, installing Windows, going into the BIOS settings, the things you should change as soon as you build your first ever PC or your second PC, whatever you're building, current generation stuff. And then we will be doing a set of Windows, some apps you should consider installing in order to make your PC run like new or get some better performance out of your PC, as long as and also control your lighting, like your RGB lighting, anything like that, any effects you have. The first thing you're going to need is a PC, obviously, that you just freshly built. This one has no Windows installed or nothing, so we're going to show that entire process. You're going to need a thumb drive with Windows already installed onto it. This is a 32 gigabyte. I think you can use a 16 gigabyte thumb drive with nothing else on it. Make sure it's completely empty, nothing else on it. Download the Windows 11 installer. just type in Windows 11 Home into Google or whatever, and you go from there. I'll also leave a link to it in the description below, along with some other apps we're going to be using after we get the computer running. So let's start with just booting it up. So put that on. Let's go ahead and turn this on if it actually works. Make sure your power supply is on. Make sure you're grounded into your graphics card, and everything's going to turn on. Make sure everything spins. Make sure all your fans, everything spins, right? Okay. No, I know this cable management's not great. We're going to actually kind of readjust some things. We're going to change the fans out in this PC, actually. So make sure everything turns on. Everything's going to boot up. Okay, so we don't have Windows installed, so what's going to happen is you'll actually get a different screen than this first up on booting, which will kind of show a picture of that as well. And then you'll be booted into the BIOS if you don't have Windows installed or it can't find your drive. So first thing you're going to look for is you're going to look for your drive. So I think you look for. So you're gonna look for your memory here, which we have team group 16 gigabyte, 2 disc 16 gigabyte sticks of that. Okay. Actually, I have to go around to the other side. Then we're gonna look for our drive. So we have a Western Digital Blue SN580 or SN580 1 terabyte. Yes, that's the only one we have in here. Our graphics card is a PCIe 5.0. Okay, by 16. So we're gonna look for that. Look for our drive. Look for our RAM. Look for our CPU, which is over here. Our Ryzen 9700X. Make sure everything's good. 32 gigabytes of RAM. Obviously, that's your motherboard you'll have. Different BIOS will look different. So this is the Gigabyte BIOS in easy mode. So we will go ahead and grab our keyboard. You can use either just look around and find it. It's usually on the easy screen or the easy mode screen, or you can type the search bar, which is I think F9. Yeah, or Alt F on this motherboard is the search bar. So you can go Alt F and it'll bring up the search bar. You can type in what you're looking for. But for series of videos, we will just use this. So we're going to navigate down to the bottom. It's going to be upside down for me. But we're going to navigate to the bottom of the BIOS and find the Expo AMD profile. If you're using an AMD CPU, you're going to go ahead and use Expo 1. If you're using an Intel CPU, you're going to use XMP for your RAM timings to tune your RAM timings. And then you can go to XMP high bandwidth support on, and then you can turn on low latency support if we have the ability to. If I can go there. Okay, what do I need to do? Okay, but Expo, you're gonna go here. You have Expo already enabled. We can disable it. It's gonna default to disabled, or we're going to have it enabled already because we kind of did some setup already. So see if I can do this upside down again. Double click with this thing. Okay. Resizable bar support. You're gonna enable resizable support. We're gonna keep fast boot disabled. If you want to enable fast boot, basically what happens is it allows your PC to boot faster, but it doesn't make your PC turn all the way off when you boot and then you shut down the PC. That's why we don't have to turn on. You can turn on ERP mode, online printable CMOS support. You can turn all that on whenever you do some research on your motherboard. If you got all your BIOS settings set, we're gonna go ahead and click F10, and we're gonna go ahead and save. Yes, it's gonna do a reboot. And now we're going to plug in our USB thumb drive into our rear USB ports. Most of them don't matter, but we can just plug it into one that's supported. And then it should give us the Windows installer on the reboot. Okay. Okay, it did not. It should do a reboot, and it should enable the Windows installer. I might turn my PC off and cycle it again. We'll see. Okay, okay, now it's going to boot into Windows. Anytime you see your motherboard branding, you'll basically get into Windows. You'll have to do the Windows setup, which we will kind of walk through a little bit, just like setting up a laptop or anything like that. Basically the same thing. It'll install Windows. And you have to do some updates. If you don't have the latest version of the installer, you have to do the updates, and then you have to sign into your Microsoft account or make a Microsoft account. Yeah, so it kind of looks outdated. I know it looks old. Language, everything else is good. So I'm gonna click next. Keyboard, yep. Install Windows 11. Next. Which I don't understand. Walk around to their side so I can actually read this better. Oh. Yep, we're gonna go ahead and install Windows 11. You must agree. All right, so agree to everything will be deleted. That's fine because this is a fresh install, so it's not gonna have anything anyway. If you have a product key, you can go ahead and type it in now, or you can always get one now and then type it in through either getting a official one through Microsoft, or you can buy one through like a third-party seller, so like SCD Key or GBG Mall, whichever. Or you can skip it for right now. Say I do not have a product key in this bottom left-hand side. It'll still boot into Windows fine. You'll just have the watermark in the bottom right, which is fine. We want to install Windows 11 Home. Personally, that's what I would. Accept terms and conditions. You can go ahead and read them if you haven't read them before. Then we're going to go, okay, so we're going to go ahead and search for our drive. This is unallocated, so that means it doesn't have any partitions on it. So right here is our USB that has one partition of Windows on it. So our disk, this one, a brand new SSD, does not have any, so we're going to go ahead and add one. Next. It should go ahead and ready to install. Yep, install. And then it's going to go through the updates, installing what's going to install, and then we'll do some updates. All right, now that you're at 100%, your PC will restart itself. Windows now to launch you into Windows. And now you have to do a normal Windows setup. So you will be doing your region. Yes. Skip. Connect to your Wi-Fi. Oh, or you can connect Ethernet, whichever one you want. Which we were going to go ahead and do Ethernet. Note that on the I will note real quick that on newer versions of Windows installs, you do have to be connected to the internet in order for it to fully install all of the Windows. Like actually let you go past that point. It won't let you go past it without internet connected because it checks for updates. That's why. Go ahead and do all its updates. Please keep your PC on. Blah, 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 blah. Good things coming your way. All right, enter your device name. Now you can name your device whatever you want. We're just going to say we're just going to name it something generic. We're going to have all white PC. What? 15, only 15 characters, no more. Okay, can't put any spaces in apparently. It's weird. Whatever. Let your PC restart again. So while you wait for this to load, you can always play this little game they have on here. Right here, surf waves. You can always start. You can play whatever you want. Play a cat, a person, a girl, a cat. Will be the cat. Just because I'm terrible at this game. And then I think you use your just use your keyboard to play the game. Oh, your distance 100 meters. I'm bad at this game though. Yeah, you sit here and play while it's why I die. Yeah, you sit here and play while it's doing updates. Yeah. You can also slow it down so you can stop. You can jump ramps. Hit the whirlpools. Slow down. You get passed by other servers. You get caught by this little freaking thing chasing me. It actually catch me. Right. Right. Now the updates are done. Now you're gonna have to sign into your Microsoft account. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. We'll go ahead and skip all this part. And go next. Type in your password, which I don't even know what mine is. Oh. Nope. Get your code. Cause I forget my password. Okay. Now we can create a pin for easy access to your things. So create a pin. I usually do short ones just to keep my PCs easy to get into. But if you have a lot of people that use your PC, maybe don't make it easy. We're going to turn off location, find my device off, diagnosis data, we're going to turn it off. Inking and typing. We're going to use all that. We're going to go ahead and turn all that off just to kind of limit how much stuff is running in the background while we're gaming because it's a gaming focused build. If this is like productivity, maybe you would want to do that. Set up as a new PC. So if you have other PC, we're gonna go ahead and set up as a new PC because I don't want anything installed from anything else. I want this to be purely for gaming. No other apps and stuff I have installed on other computers, and no other things like that. Let's customize your experience. What are you using it for? We're gonna go ahead for. Let's go ahead and skip all this because we don't care. We want the least amount of things running in the background as we can while we're using this as a gaming PC. Is the plan. Because this isn't gonna be a PC with any kind of even like any hardware monitoring. I don't even want that on there. I'm just gonna have it basically for gaming. Use your phone from your PC, blah blah blah. You can do all that. I'm not gonna do all that. Skip. You can do all the iClouds or all the clouding stuff. Not now. We're gonna decline Microsoft 360 again. Would you like to know? We're gonna decline 365. We're gonna decline all of it. You sure you want to do you know you can use I don't want to use this crap. Skip it. Don't give a shit. I don't care. Finishing up. I don't care. Okay, so now that we're on the main website, or the main thing. Okay, so it's gonna bring that up, which is weird. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna don't show this message again, but we're gonna click on the install button. All right, files. Now, quickly on most motherboards, you want to disable stuff fast because it's gonna start to install drivers and things and different softwares and bloatware that you're not gonna want on your PC. You don't want things like Norton 360, or you don't want things like Norton. You don't want anything like that. So we're just gonna install the drivers for the for the CPU. We're going to install graphics drivers, and that's basically it. We're actually going to install, since we have lighting and we're going to use the motherboard lighting, we're going to go ahead and install the Gigabyte software for that. But other than that, we're not going to install any of the other stuff. So we're going to go ahead and let it do its thing. While it's downloading that, we're going to go ahead and download 3 pieces of software. Whatever, I don't care. All right, so we're gonna use Microsoft Edge. So you can download this, where you can download your different browser if you want to. We're just gonna use Edge because we don't use the internet on this computer, other than to download our, gaming, like our gaming apps like Steam and stuff like that. But we're gonna download the Razer, which is the app I prefer, the Razer Cortex app, and that's it. We don't want any other Razer. We're gonna go ahead and download it. Download now. It's going to install. We're going to download GeForce Experience, which you don't have to download the GeForce, or not GeForce, we don't have GeForce. If you had a NVIDIA graphics card, you can download GeForce Experience, or you can download the graphics drivers. We're going to go to AMD, and we're going to go download their support drivers. Okay, let's have the cookies for now. Windows 11 drivers, we're going to download that. The AMD Adrenaline software, we're going to install that. And we're also going to install, we're going to look up the ASRock. So look at your, we're going to go ahead and look at our, we're going to go look for our graphics card to see if there's any software we should download with that. So let's go ahead and find our Steel Legend. Into our 9070, we have the non-XT version. We're going to scroll down to see if there's any support. Okay, you don't want that. Keep scrolling down. Different manufacturing websites are different. So basically, a lot of times you just scroll to the bottom or to software. It'll tell you like software areas. So support, download, press releases. I don't see any. I don't see any kind of support things you can download. I don't see any kind of software you should download for this specific one. Like some Asus motherboards, I always install the Armory Crate stuff or the GPU tweak for the OC modeled cards, just to enable the just to see I always download some of those stuff like the MSI stuff just to make sure that the CPU or the GPU is actually, the lighting is controllable if you need to. If it doesn't show up in your motherboard lighting, other things like that, or you can always use it for the auto overclocking features sometimes and see if you get the performance you want. Or you can manually overclock it using their apps, or you can do a different app like MSI Afterburner. Or I usually use GPU Tweak a couple times for different GPUs. I know some of the Intel cards don't show up on GPU Tweak, and some of the Radeon cards, they do show up kind of, but they are kind of limited in some of the supporting, which is weird because Asus has AMD cards, but it is what it is. Razer Cortex, we don't want to install, so I guess we're going to do the Razer app first, and we'll talk about Windows settings in a second. So Razer Cortex app, we just want to install just that. We don't want the ASUN, we don't want any of that stuff. It just adds more stuff to your PC that you don't want running in the background. If you want cool wallpapers and stuff like that, you can download the Razer Exxon app, Exxon, whatever it's called. If you have Razer software or Razer mice and stuff like that, you can always download their RGB controller and everything else. But we don't do any of that, so we'll just go ahead and use just the Cortex app, and I'll show you why I use the Cortex app personally instead of using a CC uninstaller and things like that to help clean up temporary files. The reason I use it is because it doesn't have the annoying pop-ups, and it doesn't try to sell you the software like some of the other ones do. So we're going to go ahead and launch this and do a quick thing. So okay. You're going to go ahead and sign in. I'm just going to continue as guest for now. You can log in if you want to. Of course, ready to do its thing. Let Windows install notifications. Sure, we'll go ahead and do that just for now. You can always disable that in the settings if you want to. All right, so what we're gonna do is how I like to do this. We're just gonna continue, I guess, for now. All right, so what I do is I don't use it for game launching or anything like that, but you could. Game Booster. If you don't know anything about what does that say? Oh, it doesn't just automatically install Norton VPN. I hope it doesn't. If you don't know anything about gaming, you can always use the auto boost feature, which I generally disable it. If you have games installed, it'll optimize those for that. System booster. This is where you're actually going to use a lot. It's a system clean thing. You're going to scan it every maybe once a week, once a month, or whatever. Scan it. It's going to clear out all your temporary files, things like that. Speed up. This is what I would not. You could do the optimization. This count optimization. I personally, the only one I do not do, if you have an SSD, is the defragging one. The defrag, you could do it, but I just don't prefer to do defragging on SSDs. Now, a spinning disk, you could do defragging, and then this right here is helpful for any kind of future upgrades if you're not sure what's in your system. This right here, the My Rig part of the system booster. This tells you everything you have in your system. It tells you your CPU, the exact motherboard you have, tells you the amount of RAM you have, tells you the storage you have connected. So right here we have the PNY USB device in the back. We also have our Western Digital. Your graphics cards are 9070, and our graphics card is our AMD graphics. We have our display. Even this shows up, our display shows up. And then you can go to individual RAM. So it'll tell you the UD 5000s, and you can copy and paste that into yeah, I'll tell you everything. So it'll tell you anything you need to know about your system, so you can always research. Okay, so let's say I want a new graphics card. I want a new processor. I have a 9700X in here. What's better? Do I go 7900X or do I go 7900X 3D or whatever? You can always do that in the future. You can always see what motherboard you have. Is this motherboard even compatible? You can look at that as well. You can also go into other means of doing it. It's just a way easier way of finding that information, especially if you're trying to help somebody who doesn't know a lot about computers. That's what I use to help them, kind of just because they can send me that whole list, they can copy it and paste it to it, right into like a copy and paste. Right, installation successful. All right, let's talk about the Gigabyte Control Center real fast. Okay, go ahead and here, yes, we'll go ahead and let it make changes to our device. For now, we'll go ahead and change some things. Okay, so you got to go into the download center. I think it's the download control, whatever it is, and okay, we're gonna accept that for now. You can read it. I've read it in the past. We're gonna skip the tutorial. You can watch the tutorial. All right, let's go to Update Center. Check for updates. I don't know where the installer center is, but we're gonna make sure it doesn't install any kind of bloatware. That's the main thing you don't want it to install. You basically want to install the controller for. Okay, so here we go. So skip tutorial. All right, before we click install, we're gonna get rid of the Norton. We can do the Gigabyte storage library. We don't really need that. Performance library. We don't need that. We need the RGB tool, the Wi-Fi Compass library, sure. Intel Bluetooth driver. We could do that just to have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi driver, AMD chipset drivers. What we need, because we have AM5 graphics driver, which we could do that because we have our integrated graphics. You could always turn this off and have it. Gigabyte LAN, yes. Real-time high definition audio, yes. ITE driver, yes. Realtek Dragon software, you can have it. Smart backup, you don't really need it. AMD Ryzen Master. And then, yes, we're going to go ahead and then motherboard BIOS. You can always update the BIOS in here as well if you wanted to. But right now, we're not going to do that. We're just going to install this. Okay, no, cancel. Oh. So you'll unselect that. We're going to unselect the storage library. And yeah. We don't want Norton installed on our PC. Okay. So we don't want to install Norton. That's the terrible thing to install. Yeah, sometimes it's annoying to sit here and install everything. But yeah, don't install Norton is the main thing. That's just bloatware. It's annoying. And it gives you a million pop-ups trying to get you to buy it. It's just not worth it. Stuff is not worth it. Okay, let's let it install the update. So we're going to let it install to 2%. It's going to take a while to install these updates. If you want to do it kind of in waves, like you want to start with, okay, let's just do a couple things at once. You can always do that as well. And then just go back and install the stuff you find useful to you. It makes it a little bit faster of a process. While this is updating, we're going to go ahead and go to our Windows settings because it's going to take a while. Let us. Okay, whatever. We're in Windows settings. All right, so settings, things and Windows we're going to install. So we're going to go down to gaming. We're going to install. We're going to make sure game bar is always on. Allow your controller to open game bar. Sure, you don't really have to have that on, but we're going to make sure that game bar is on. So we can type in here, type in game bar if you don't want to go search for or game mode. Settings. We're going to make sure game mode is on, and then pretty much it. I mean, there's a couple other optimizations you can do. But for right now, what we will do is we will hit Control Alt Delete. We will pull up the Task Manager. Now that we're gonna keep installing more apps, but we're gonna go ahead and go to the Startup tab, which is Startup Apps, the second one down. So we don't have much installed right now on this computer, but we can do this, and we can enable like this right here, OneDrive. Disable it. We don't need. We can actually delete this if you wanted to, but we're just gonna do it now. We're gonna keep the security stuff on just for safety. But you can always disable it if you feel like you're not going to be hacked or anything. Razer Cortex app, we're going to disable it on startup. This is like apps that will make your PC run slower when you like to try and boot it up. So we're going to disable all that stuff. All right, so we're going to close this out. And then settings, here's other things you can do. You can go into settings in order to free up some more space of the stuff that Windows automatically installs. So go to system, go to storage, and then you can go ahead and go down to installed apps. Do you need a calculator? No, turn it off. You don't need a camera. We can go ahead and delete it. I know it's not big files, but it's just stuff that could launch in the background. Copilot, we don't need it. Go ahead and get rid of it. And it's not very big files, but a little bit of files here and there. It also makes this look nicer. Microsoft Edge, you can do it. You don't need Microsoft News on this thing. We don't care. Notepad, we don't need it. Outlook, we don't need it. We don't need install all of Outlook. We don't need it. Paint, photos, all this stuff. We don't need any of this stuff on this particular app. We don't need remote connection. You can always uninstall. You can always reinstall it later. The weather, we don't need it. Yes. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do, but okay. It's not what I wanted to do. I know that I forgot the remote desktop does make you reset your PC, but stuff like that. You can just uninstall stuff that you're not actually going to use. Like that remote stuff like that. So like Copilot, we're not going to use. We're going to use Photos. We're not going to use the media player on this PC. If you wanted to do it, or in the future you want to change it, you can always re-download it through the App Store, which just works fine. The Microsoft App Store. Let it do its installations. I'll come back next. So that's basically it. Just install what you need. Install the games you want, files you want. And then we'll show you the RGB software once it's done downloading. Damn it, Corey, how do you frick it up? I had it running. I mean, I tried. Freaking idiots. Freaking idiots, dude. I told him just make a few runs on it. I didn't even care how many he made. Just showed that it ran. Idiots. Oh well. It sucks, I know. Like, they need to just get rid of them old sucks. Idiots, dude. Freaking idiots. Freaking idiots, dude. Freaking idiots, dude. I'll just ignore mess with it, which is fine. I'll mess with it tomorrow. I'll get it tomorrow. Because I'm trying to right there. We'll fix it tomorrow. Yeah, we'll get it. I'll have a run, but we'll get it. Freaking dumbasses. Fuck, man. I'm gonna try it. Can't believe you. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 dude. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just end this now. I'll come back later and do this. Second part. All right. Let's close this video out real quick. get most of the stuff installed, redoing the last couple of restarts. For the RGB control, one of the biggest things I also don't like about it is having all different brands of RGB. That's why we're gonna buy the Gigabyte stuff. But the T-Force Gram kit, for some reason, not lighting up right now. It had some weird RGB lighting stuff to it. So, but it does work. We'll probably just make it more white. We'll just keep it, or just let it RGB itself. We'll see. Kind of match the fans. But we can also plug in the fans, or the graphics card to the motherboard and make it all solid color. But we're gonna let this go ahead and boot up again. I think if it decides to boot, and then we'll show you kind of different softwares you can install for the RGB control. You can do the motherboard software. So this is the Gigabyte controller we're going to use. We were using. You can use OpenRGB. You can use Signal RGB for if you have mix matched RGB. So we'll go ahead and show you real quick. All right, let's go ahead and show you guys real quick that. All right, so go ahead and disable that now. So let's go into Signal RGB. So right now everything's RGB except for the RAM. I don't know why the RAM's not, but let's see. Let's go into Signal RGB. We're going to open it up. The software is a little bit finicky sometimes with some of these things, but solid color. I don't know how you make it apply. Oh, there you go. So everything's all white except for the fans here. So you can change everything to white. It changes everything, at least the RAM and the fans right now are colored a little bit different color. That's why maybe you would try to change it down a little bit, tone it down, or separate it out and try to make them match. Which you can do. So go to layouts. You can change your layouts or your devices. You can add third party. So you can add, see, like this device here. You can change it. I don't know what that means, but you can open in layouts and you can change this sub. So you can change this stuff here. Change this entirely. You change the entire controller. So let's just do. I'm not too familiar with this RGB app, but yeah. So let's do. I do just the 5-volt header effect on this, just this alone. See, for some reason it's not. Oh, it's changing everything. I don't want everything to change. I just want certain things to change. Our device show LEDs. But yeah, you can change it and do whatever you want. Once you get it set right, it'll work fine. You know, but right now, like, say we want the RAM a different color. I don't know how it works, but yeah, we can change the RAM color. So like if you click on it, it'll change the color of what you're changing. It's changing that RAM right now. If I go effect, does it change just the RAM alone? No, it doesn't. So I'm saying I don't understand why it doesn't change the whole thing. But yeah, this is a little annoying. Has it really changed the hue? No, that's just. It's not changing anything. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's weird. So sometimes you can just set it aside. Can I just set it aside? See, I think it's a little bit different color with some of these. So that's why I don't know. I mean, I just go back. I try to just let it rainbow. Except now it looks really weird. And shift, screen ambiance. Yeah, cloud color. Let's go everything all white. But I don't know why. You see, I'm not used to this software. I wish I knew it better. Inspector. Oh wait, oh, just how you do it. It doesn't change anything. No, like, it doesn't change. So if I go here, and do the motherboard lighting, does it change everything? See, I don't know, like, the lighting. Because I was going to change the. Oh, yeah. Weird, super bizarre. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Just want to change. Oh, so you can change the brightness now. of that to make it kind of, see, the white still won't match the RAM. The RAM's a little duller white, which is way, but yeah, this almost looks blue, but that looks white. That looks like bluish white. So is there a way to, say, change it here? I don't understand. I don't know. That looks blue. So that counts blue. How do I change the? I'm not super familiar how you do this, but you can play around with it. I don't know. Yeah. See if the sometimes the RAM would show up in here, but it doesn't show up in here. So let's see if I fusion. Static white. But yeah, so yeah, that's one thing about RGB control. We have multiple different brands controlling everything. So it is what it is. So that's basically how you set your PC. Basically, you should make sure your PBO is enabled. If you want to double check, go to your task manager, go to your performance CPU. You should be running it. So base speed is 3.8, but it's running at 4.0 right now. It's not really used too much. And you want to go to your memory. Make sure your memory speed is 6,000 megatransfers. I think it defaults to 40,333, I think, or something like that. So it should default to, there should be whatever speed your RAM is, your timing is. So it should be that. Make sure it's connected, and then make sure your AMD graphics. Make sure your GPU is connected. You should have two of them, which we don't have two of them for some reason. Yeah. Okay. Is there a ASRock? Oh, it's through here. There's the Radeon software I had installed. Let's go to the Radeon software. See if we can get the AMD software, Adrenaline software to work. That would help. Yes. Huh? Is it not doing that? Oh, there we go. Check your hardware for drivers. See if we can get the 9070 to show up. And see if we can do some cool stuff with it. Okay, so there you go, 9070 graphics, accept and let's install. Update the drivers. Let's get all this stuff on the screen. Timing remaining 0 seconds and 0% complete. Probably just there. 10 minutes remaining. Okay, let's be fast. So yeah, the AMD installer, you're definitely going to want this to be able to overclock your graphics card or just automatically let it run profiles that are already set and change the power limit, things like that. If you're cooling, if your case is good enough and your room is not too hot, you should be able to just run it max power, max out the power limit, and just let it beat. So yeah, as long as the cooler is good, which most of the cards, 9070 AIB cards and 97 XTR AIB cards should have big enough coolers to allow it to really do well. It allows it to really stay cool. I don't have anything installed to run tests, so we will benchmark this GPU soon probably after I build my test bench, which will be the next video probably. One of the next videos coming up, we'll be building our test bench. I finally have a frame for it, and we'll start to build the test bench and get our testing suite set up because I do want to really get into kind of like doing benchmarking. I'm not going to be able to have the time to do hours and hours of benchmarking, but I will be able to try and benchmark a lot of stuff and compare things. Can compare a lot of graphics cards together, hopefully a lot of CPUs together as well, and kind of do a lot of cool stuff in terms of that. So if you enjoy content like that or want to see more content like that, subscribe, leave a like on this video, comment other things you want to see in the future, any kind of ideas you have. We have all sorts of different graphic cards we're going to do stuff with, some builds we have coming up, some water cooling stuff coming up, not like custom water looping, but AIOs and comparing AIOs to one of the biggest things about setting up a PC is a lot of restarts. We're a lot of AI, a lot of different stuff coming up. A lot of builds, a lot of testing, a lot of comparisons coming up. I was going to use the B580 in order to do editing on, which I will eventually make a test rig and have that as one of the testing suites we do, is a rendering of some sort via some kind of editing software, probably DaVinci Resolve, because it's the one I use to edit anyway. But it won't currently fit in the case that I use as my editing rig. So that's where we'll have to, that's where I'll either figure out something, I'll do something with it. All right, let's go ahead and open the AMD drivers. Let's let it RGB. I don't know. I'm gonna just get rid of it and just let it RGB. We'll probably just get rid of single RGB and just let it RGB itself and figure it out. AMD manager, let's go ahead and run this. All right, AMD chat, we don't want that AMD. Okay, so chipset driver. Install zero. I want AMD chat. I don't want that. So where's AMD Adrenalin software? Well, that's what I want. Software. That's what I want. AMD Adrenalin. I want the Adrenalin software. What the frick? Not give me the full AMD Adrenalin software? Yeah. Hello? No? Thoughts? Hello? Yeah. Let it do. Oh, there it goes. Now it actually installs. Okay. Cancel. Yes. I already have it installed. Jesus. Okay, so skip this part. So we don't care. All right. So here's your AMD stuff. So you manage updates, current version. So that's not. All right. So home. So this is where you enable your different things. We're gonna go with HyperX. We're gonna go full power. Whatever. So you can record stuff like that. You can AI gaming. You can do AI stuff. You can do gaming, graphics. Change all your graphics settings for your 9070, 9070 XT, or any other AMD cards you're using. Your performance stuff, you can start logging it. You can do FPS. It has its own built-in stuff. You can tune stuff here. So right here is where I would just max out my power limits. You can overclock your 9070 XT if you wanted to. Overclock CPU button. You can favor efficiency, favor performance, custom. So it's going to favor or overclock GPU, accept, proceed. You let it eat it. I mean, it don't matter. I'll say 102. That's an auto overtime, but you can manually overclock here also. If you undo this, go to favor performance, and you can do oh yeah, download Razer Master, I think, for that, and then there's certain ways to do this also. Unless it's not supported yet on these, but yeah. So yeah, we'll just let it overclock itself. We'll just favor performance. We can overclock it. I'm using that, but I'm going to delay. So yeah, that's basically the software. You can make sure your graphic driver is updated all the time. Page updates, yes, make sure it's updated. Yeah, don't care about any of that. We don't care about that. Start again. So again, we're restarting the PC. So there's that. Again, if you like this video, that's kind of all over the place, kind of at the end there. If you like this video, leave a like, comment, any videos you want to see in the future, any cool stuff you want to see, more builds, you want to see more testing, different comparisons, anything like that. We'll try and get to them. Like I said, we'll get to them. We'll hopefully get to them in different ways, or any games you want to see tested. I know our last benchmark we didn't do a lot. We just kind of did a couple games, but we're trying to build our suite and trying different ways of doing it. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.